we put together a playbook for how to deal with the eventuality of a pandemic.
Apparently, Barack Obama says he knew how to solve the pandemic and Donald Trump just straight up ignored him. He ignored his pandemic playbook. Now, have you heard that? Have you seen that story? Myself, I hadn't heard that. Now, it's one of the great moments of fissure, change and shift. It's the moment when we realise that authoritarianism would be leveraged in the name of care. It's the moment when we realise that in our new and technologically advanced society, total surveillance, total censorship, and therefore total control became a possibility for the first time. I suppose it was a time of great revelation. It's interesting to hear what perspectives different political parties had on it. Now, remember, at the beginning of the pandemic, the Republican Party and Donald Trump were in control. By the end of it, Biden was in control. You let me know in the comments in the chat. Let me know who you feel handled it best. Let's have a look at Obama's claim that that he had a playbook and that Trump ignored it.
My last year in office, we put together a playbook for how to deal with the eventuality of a pandemic. Because scientists had been saying with globalization and travel, etc., rising populations, that at some point there was going to be a pandemic. And so I said to my team, I said, we got to have a plan, just like you do for hurricanes or tornadoes or natural disasters. So we put together this whole playbook. And we practiced the playbook. We get all the agencies. This is how we're going to respond. This is how to make sure that the public health systems in all the states are working. Here's how we're going to think about the schools. And when Donald Trump came in, we gave over this playbook to them. And but the point is, he ignored it. And 3 years later, a pandemic hits. Now, I want to really be fair on this, but I want everybody to pay attention. No matter who was president at the time, this was going to be a problem. This was a generational pandemic. People were going to get sick. People were going to die. We didn't have a vaccine right away. Businesses were going to have to shut down for a while. Travel was going to be restricted. But if you look at a country like Canada, their per capita death rate was 40% lower than it was here in the United States. So just do the math. That's more than 400,000 people. People's grandmothers, people's fathers, people's moms, who would have been alive if Donald Trump had just paid attention and tried to follow the plan that we gave him. It might have been somebody in your family that could have been impacted. So if somebody tells you that this doesn't make a difference, having somebody competent, somebody who cares about you, who listens to ordinary people, who listens to people who are experts in these areas, if you hear somebody say it doesn't matter, it does matter. And at some point, it will make a difference to them.
See what Jay Bhattacharya had to say about that. This ahistorical nonsense by Obama, and the worst thing he's ever said, is the worst thing he's ever said. Is he aware of the success of the Swedish non-lockdowns or the damage caused by the school closures? He should go back to being a retired president and stay out of public health. That's a pretty damning indictment from Jay Bhattacharya, who I believe is the kind of person that should be running the national institutions of health. In conclusion, I suppose what we learned in the pandemic period is that it was a great opportunity for various powerful interests, and it's still being used politically even now. And yet, what we're not seeing is the reckoning that ought to take place. Maybe with Bobby Kennedy in a position of government, you would see Anthony Fauci and the many curious interests that appear to benefit from that period taken to task in some way. Rumble make these. snacks, you see. This is a brand called Positive. It's a pet food brand that Rumble have. But also they have a pet insurance that is an affiliate to it. You know, like dogs can go from very high energy to being sick in an instant. And you know, it's like if you have to call a vet, like when they're out of hours. It's a terrible way to manage your dog's health. Not to mention it can be very stressful for you. So there's this emergency pet kit that you can get from Positive Health, which contains critical medications and supplies that can keep you out of vets and maybe even save your dog's life. So if you want to use it, go to Positive, that's spelled like P-A-W, positive.com/brand. That's Positive, P-A-W-S, itive.com/brand, and get your pet emergency kit that's got critical meds in it like activated charcoal and styptic powder, and you can get 15% off using the code BRAND today. Go to positive.com/brand and use the code BRAND to get 15% off. I like these Rumble connected organizations because they've been so supportive. Good boy. So supportive to our channel. It's great to give a little bit back. There it is. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.